My name is Wade Smith, Superintendent for Walla Walla Public Schools, and this is the December Pulse. Well, students, faculty, and family, welcome back from Thanksgiving break. It seems like just yesterday we were handing out Halloween candy to students, and a couple weeks from now we'll be entering into Christmas break. But as we work our way into the month of December and January, so too comes it with our annual reminder to make sure that we inform our parents and community about inclement weather. How do we respond? How do we support our families and students during that time? And most importantly, how do we communicate with you during these times? I'm pleased to be joined by two of the hardest working people in our district, Robert Foster, our Director of Operations, as well as John Griffith, our Director of Transportation. I brought these two folks here to the December Pulse to share with you the incredible work that they do every single morning as we prepare for inclement weather. So, John, let's talk to you first about the transportation. And behind us, we see some of our equipment getting set up for winter weather. Talk to us about your process this time of year. What are you doing from a staff and a program here in the transportation facility to prepare for inclement and winter driving conditions?
Well, first of all, we look out days in advance for storms, possible storms coming in. At 4 o'clock in the morning, we look out the window and see what's going on, and I communicate with Wade on what we're doing. During inclement weather, bus drivers come in early. They get their buses prepared to go, get them started up, warmed up, swept off, and they always leave a little bit early on inclement weather days to get their first stop on time.
Yeah, as both these two gentlemen on my left and right remind me, when we head out that morning, when inclement weather is on the horizon, we're usually out on the roads no later than about 4 o'clock in the morning. I usually take the south end of the town. John, I think you kind of hit the east end of town. Robert takes kind of the downtown facilities to make sure our schools and sidewalks and access part and parking lots are swept and ready to go. So, Robert, why don't you talk to a little bit to our community about what it is that you do from a facilities standpoint to prepare our sites for school?
Sure. So we spent the last few weeks transitioning, getting our snow plows, our snow brushes, our snow brooms ready to go. We're also transitioning. We stage ice melt and de-icer and make sure that we have all the right equipment to get that spread out. On the day of, we communicate with our staff, and they come in early and help prepare the schools before school, so that it's safe for our staff, students, and community.
So I'll talk to a little bit about to remind our families around how this communication process works. We're out on the road by 4 o'clock in the morning. We try to make that call, and the two calls we make are either school is going to be canceled for the day simply because we have conditions we don't think we can get ready with a 2-hour delay, or we see worsening conditions down the road that simply wouldn't make it safe for students to come and staff to come into our campuses. So we'll make two calls in that morning. Either it's going to be a school canceled all day long, or potentially a 2-hour delay. We try to make those calls no later than about 5 to 5:15 in the morning, so we can go ahead and communicate with our communications department, and they can get that word out by no later than about 5:45 to 6 a.m. So parents are informed, so faculty are informed, and so our community is informed around a 2-hour delay and or a school cancellation. Now, one important thing to remember, we are only going to communicate if the school is either delayed or canceled. We are not going to communicate and say, hey, school's on today. So if no news is shared out with our community, whether it's via the Parent Square app, social media, our website, local radio stations, if you don't hear anything by about 6:15 or 6:30 in the morning, count on as school is on for that day. So a couple important things, John, as we head our buses out in the morning and maybe the roads are a little slick. What's important for our families and students to know? I think one thing is making sure they get to that bus stop on time, because during these difficult driving conditions, our buses sometimes will get delayed in their normal routes. Correct?
Yeah, if students could be at their stops on time, that would be fantastic. That way, drivers are not looking for students coming out of their houses or just showing up late to the bus stops. We do the best we can to get there on time, but like I said earlier, we try to make it to our first stop on time, and after that, we just do the very best we can.
Yeah, thank you, John. And from a facility standpoint, Robert, what's important for parents to know? Maybe they're picking their kids up, they're dropping them off, maybe they're faculty coming to school. What can we remind them of on these inclement weather days or when conditions are a little worse out there?
Sure, it can be slick. So, we do our best to remove snow and put de-icer down, but sometimes that takes some time. So, a good pair of shoes is always good advice. Be careful when you walk. Take small steps. Don't take too big of steps so that you fall.
And a couple other things for our parents and our students, especially those participating in after-school activities. That's always a difficult conversation and decision we have to make regarding, what's the weather like during the day? Are we on a 2-hour delay, a late start, or maybe a full cancellation day? What about those after-school activities? Typically, if school's canceled for the day, and almost certainty you can count on this activities being canceled that afternoon or evening. Now it gets a little difficult when, for example, maybe it's a Friday delay or a Friday cancellation. What about that Saturday basketball game or that Saturday wrestling trip? Again, stay tuned. Be on the lookout for communication from your coach or athletic director or the district regarding those after school or weekend activities when they're following some sort of inclement delay or cancellation weather. So as we wrap up this December pulse, remember we only have two short weeks in the month of December. Again, thank you for all you do to keep our students and community safe. Keep on the lookout. Drive safe, drive slow. Be careful walking on our campuses, dropping your students off. Again, beware of slips, trips, and falls, and have an outstanding month of December.